Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are students from the State Islamic University of Sultan Saifuddin Jambi. This video was made to complete one of the segments of the course English for Specific Purpose, and it will be presented by me, YOSI ULFASANAH, and my friend UFI FATMALA. The purpose of academic listening instruction in tertiary institution is typically to develop skills such as lecture comprehension that will help the students participate and succeed in academic or academic-related discourse. English for academic purpose, learners have strong listening comprehension skills not only for understanding lectures, but also for interacting with others in face-to-face communication. Equal attention should therefore be given to helping learners improve their basic comprehension processes and to addressing comprehension problems they face as second language listener. The first one is exploring the construct of ESP listening. The goal of second language listening instruction is to develop active listener. To listen actively, language learners need to the first one is have an available source of relevant knowledge to support cognitive processing. The second one is use listening skills to facilitate comprehension and interaction. And the third one is engage in metacognitive processes to enhance and regulate their own comprehension and listening development. ESP listening as a construct has many similarities to ESL listening. It involves the same cognitive processes that draw from a number of similar knowledge stores to process spoken input and requires the use of the same core or macro skills that enable effective attention to information in accord with the purpose for listening. Where the two types of listening differ is in the additional skills and specific types of knowledge required for English academic purpose and English for occupational purpose. The first one is both require same cognitive processes. There are certain factors which influence cognitive processes. For example, accent and vocabulary. The second one, ESP and ESL listening require use of the same skills to facilitate interaction and comprehension. Next, cognitive processes and knowledge source. To recognize the sounds they hear and construct meaning from the spoken text, all second language listeners need three types of knowledge. The first one, knowledge about the language. It is consists of phonology, syntax, and vocabulary. The second one is knowledge about language use. It consists of discourse and pragmatics. The third one is knowledge about context, facts and experience, prior or background knowledge or schema. Successful listening comprehension is the result of the interplay of two types of processing that draw on these knowledge types. Bottom-up processing involves the decoding of sounds and text-driven, while top-down processing uses prior knowledge to help listeners draw constrained inference. Next, listening skills and metacognitive process. Discussing ESP listening, Dudley Evans and Alstijon proposed two macro skills for English for academic purpose and English for occupational purpose listening. The first one, listening to monologue or one-way listening. The second one, listening and speaking or interactive listening. For greater clarity on listening comprehension processes, it is more helpful to consider the core comprehension skills that effective listeners use either singly or in combination in order to achieve their desired comprehension goals. The first one is listen for details. It is understand and identify specific information. The second one is listen for main idea. It is understand and summarize key points in a text. The third one is listen for global understanding. Understand the gist of the message. And the fourth one, listen and infer. Fill in the gaps in one's understanding by using knowledge about the language forms and use, and relevant prior knowledge. Next, listen and predict. Anticipate what one will hear. And the last one, listen selectively. Pay attention to specific parts of the message by ignoring other parts. Fourth, researching ESP listening. Research and scholarly discussions in academic listening have provided the field of ESP with valuable information on listening processes, in structures, and materials. Research into ESP listening has continued to adopt one of three research methodologies: psychometric studies, discourse analysis, or ethnography. Flower, Dow, 1994.
Okay, the next material is about developing academic listening skills. Good listening comprehension has been shown to contribute significantly to academic performance, June 2007, and Taurus and Elysian 1994 proposed a constituent structure of lectures that compare 5 idea units: topic, introduction, problem, solution, and evaluation. Miller, 2009, summarized a series of studies he conducted in Hong Kong with Flower Dew from 1992 until 2000 and identified 4 dimensions to lecturing in the student's second language, which lecturers should take into account in order to support students in their learning and understanding. And Miller 2009 pointed 4 dimensions of lecturing. Number 1, ethnic. The difficult a lecturer from one ethnic background has when presenting lecture to students from a different cultural background. And the next, local setting. Local setting, when aspect of the local setting assist students to comprehend the lecture content. The next, C. Academic institution. Practice peculiar to educational institution, teacher-centered instruction versus student-centered learning. And the last, disciplinary. The realization that each discipline has specialist vocabulary and specific ways of presenting information. Flowerdew and Miller 1996 had identified sociocultural features of lectures delivered in student second language which could have an impact on comprehension and learning. A. Purpose of lectures. While both lectures and students consider lectures to be important, lectures saw lecture as a means for them to develop students' thinking skills and creativity, whereas students saw them as mainly a means for them to receive information. And B. Rules of lectures. Lectures took on a variety of roles. Example: varieties of information, mediator to the local situation, and language teacher. C. Style of lecturing. Lectures often adopt a traditional monologue style of lecturing, even thought they would have liked to use a more participatory style. Students, however, were often unresponsive toward this more interactive style of learning. And simplification. Lecturers took into consideration talk with limited success. Student linguistic problems, they tried to slow down their speech, avoid using complex or unusual words, and repeat themselves more. Students seem to find repetition to be the most beneficial of these strategies for helping them to comprehend lectures more effectively. And next, listener behavior. Lecturers express their difficulty in getting student attention, while students express that they were bored, unable to adapt to the lax classroom discipline, or had to use their mother tongue to help each other understand the lecture better. And humor. A thought injecting humor into a lecture was seen to be useful. Foreign lecturers state that their use of humor had been successful due to cultural or linguistic barriers between themselves and students. Next, instruction and materials. The ESP instructor is often perceived to be provider of materials, selecting material that is available, adapting it as necessary, and supplementing it in order to meet learners' needs. Dudley, Evan, and Esejahan 1998 185. And at the same time, instructors need to be aware of change in the lecturing and teaching style in their university. In the United States, for example, there is a move toward less formal and more interactive style in academic settings. Ferris and Tech 1996b. And McDonough observed that information technology appears to play a vital role, with the internet being central to student activities and teacher support. Next, feature direction for ESP listening research. The use of English in tertiary institutions is quite phenomenal, as we see a rise in the number of universities in many traditionally non-English speaking countries offering course taught in English. Coleman 2006, Wilkinson 2005. And there is great need to do research on exploiting technologies for improving ESP listening. And number 2, on different scales in classroom, and the last on metacognition in relation to listening. Recommendation for teaching. First, be aware that learners may have different perception of tasks and situation, objective and needs. Jesu Aguilar, 1999. And the second, make course evaluation in ESP course and imperative so as to achieve a deeper understanding about how learning experiences and processes can affect ESP learners. SU 2009. And third, be aware of underlying difference in sociocultural discourse, convention, or linguistic competence which could lead to problem in listening and affect other people's impression of ESP learners. Regerson Rival 2007, S.T. Johan 1996. And the last, facilitate comparative learning by assigning each student a lecture body to help them in their listening comprehension, and Mendelssohn 2002. Okay, that's all material from us. I'm sorry if any mistakes, and thank you for watching. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.